What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Forge Sports Media Podcast. This is your 24th episode. We're leading into the 2024 Disc Golf Pro Tour season starter at the 2024 Chess.com Open. Is that what we've got it listed down as now?
Yes.
Yeah, the
Chess.com Invitational.
Yes, I like that. I like it. Way better than the Florida Open. We're about to hit you with some winners and losers in terms of brands and players of the offseason. We'll talk about losing brands of the offseason. And then finally, we're going to hit you with our way too early 2024 MPO winners. Each Trey and I are both going to give our winner for the tournament. Did I say winners and losers for each event? You pick who's going to come in last.
Oh man, I don't want to do that.
That'd be
we'll pick winners for each Elite Series and Major. We're going to go the rapid fire through those, except for the majors. We'll give a little more context on those bad guys.
And what I'll do at the very end is I'll post a list of all of them at the very end. I may try to pop some up on the screen as we talk about them, but we've got 29 events. So we're going to try to go through those relatively quickly and then hit you with our collective list just so you can double back and see how right we're Trey and Thomas. I mean, he got the World's winner last year right way too early, so
I sure did.
There's some validity there.
I know what I'm doing.
Exactly. So let's talk winners. In terms of brands of the off-season between 2023 and 2024 season. Trey, who would you say is the biggest winner brand-wise?
Man, that's, I think it's pretty close between two companies. I'll let you take the other one, but I'm going to go with MVP signing Eagle McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the best players in the world, one of the furthest throwers in the world, reuniting with Simon. The marketing that comes from that is next level. I don't think there's a better signing this offseason than Eagle. They also add Paul Krans to the team, which is a great addition for just building that younger generation. Also in with that group with Simon, does a lot of content with him. And so I think MVP just blew it out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to sell a ton of discs. And James Conrad walked so the Crush Boys could run.
Yes, honestly, I feel a little bad for James Conrad. Like, I mean, he comes to MVP hoping to be the main event, and honestly now, like, he's still important, but he's not the main event of MVP right now.
Right, and I think I think that's what he originally set out to do, was to be the guy. But I think he's totally fine with having Eagle and Simon as teammates. That's just going to bring more to his brand. Eagle's already saying he's going to putt nomads this season. Like, that alone, having Eagle saying he's going to use your disc is going to exponentially, like, increase your value.
Yeah. And really the Paul Krans ad to take the 2023 Rookie of the Year with the PDGA and lock down that as somebody on your team, that's huge. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not excited because we're Aiden Scott fans personally, but, big ups to Paul Krans. Absolutely shreds the course. And when he had his two chances at a major this past year, he had 20th, I believe, at the World Championships. At Champions Cup, and then 40th at the World Championships this past year. And
so some really solid showings in those events.
Yeah, those are the only, DGPT events he played because he's an amateur, and so he had the opportunity to play in these major events. And so, I mean, you cannot ask for more as a rookie, and to land those is just absolutely huge.
Oh, absolutely. And so we're excited to see what Krans does this season. I think, I think he'll be a contender in a few events, but he's got a bright future.
I would agree there completely. Now, I would personally believe that, the person, or I guess the brand that I want to talk about is Discmania, and obviously they lost Eagle. That's a huge loss. That's not something to balk at.
Right.
But to pull up and snag Gannon Burr and Alden Harris together, I can't say that you lost.
No, I mean, and I think a big surprise for their offseason was that they were able to keep Niklas Antila as well, re-sign him, have him join the Sky team. I think that while Discmania probably lost the bigger player, the bigger presence, I mean, what they added in Gannon and Alden and re-signed with Niklas is huge.
Yeah.
And so to say that they're losers, that would be a terrible take.
I think if Niklas had actually moved, we would be talking about a net neutral for Discmania, but him staying there, I think you add Gannon, who this past year performed better than Eagle. I mean, like, he was very close. Like, don't get me wrong, Eagle actually pulled back and had a really good season. And I think not that many people really knew it was going on while it was going on. Like, you kind of knew Eagle had some good finishes, but I don't think people realized that Eagle was like a top 5 player last year. Like,
he was incredible. He didn't have the big win that he needed to kind of elevate himself to the Isaac Robinson, Calvin, who else? The Gannon level. But
like an Isaac.
Yeah, but he had the finishes and the consistency that was off the charts. I mean, he was up there with Calvin level of consistency in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
And so both companies come out on top. We think that they're definitely the top 2 winners. I do want to talk about some other folks that I think had good off seasons. I'm going to talk about DGA. DGA, they had some wins with Katrina Allen, and Cole Redon came out and won Ledgestone this year. And they have Andrew Marweed, who is the best putter on tour, best putting percentage on tour. And they went and signed a litany of players. We've got a list here.
You've got Parker Welck, DDO winner this past year. Absolutely insane. Talk about a guy that's set up for a tremendous future if he continues that. Now, Parker Welck, if you're listening by chance, this is your season to prove your worth. You just went and won a huge event. You need to continue that. And if you can do that, you've got an absolutely incredible future awaiting you.
Absolutely.
You got Ellie Midtlyng. Talk about an insane signing of some absolutely young talent. Somebody who won the 2023 World Distance Competition this past year.
At 16 years old, she has every piece of talent to become a top 3 player. And DGA just absolutely knocked it out of the park with that one. Also, on the FPO side, signing what I think is one of the most underrated signings this offseason, getting Macie Velediaz.
Yeah.
Now, she will not be doing a full tour this year as she's pregnant, but you're going to be able to do so much marketing with Macie. And when she comes back, she's a top 10 player.
I think that's the type of person that will maintain a level of loyalty to a brand that was willing to put their money on the line when it came to working with her. That's a tough situation to not end up being able to tour with who you planned on spending probably a long career with. I think her, especially with Zach Melton as the captain, that was the team that fit her personality best. And so for DGA to come in a time where she is desperate and needs a sponsor, came in and locked it up.
I mean, absolutely incredible signing. They were also able to sign
Lucky Lawrenson. We've got that's later down the line. Tristan Tanner, Sullivan Tipton, Evan Scott. I think that's 3 solid snags right there.
Yeah, just some excellent above average pros that are going to go out and compete week in and week out, and they'll sneak in some top 10s, maybe even some top 5s. Those guys are all awesome players, and
you're looking at Sullivan Tipton, who at USDGC is kind of where he showed out a lot. There were a lot of really good clips of Sullivan going crazy. He had the ace, the forehand ace on hole 9. Is it 9?
7.
The one with the triple mando through the forehand that came over and flared all the way up into the basket.
Absolutely incredible shot.
Nuts. So he had a really good showing out last season. Had several top 30 finishes.
And then Evan Scott won a silver event.
He won the Zootown Open, which was a 2-round event, but based on the weather and everything, but well deserved.
Yeah, and so they made an absolute splash, and they are looking to win many events this year, I'd say.
I would agree right there. So DGA set up for a lot of success. Definitely a winner in our book. Let's talk Discraft. Now, there really wasn't a lot of heavy movement in the Discraft realm. Not a lot of people, in this list prior, you lost Evan Scott to DGA, but that's kind of a subsidiary to some extent. They are both.
The same with Sullivan Tipton.
Yeah, so you're not really talking about this massive exodus. Discraft and DGA are one. I mean, like,
yeah,
they are different.
Discraft owns DGA. It's kind of like...
If somebody went from Dynamic Discs to West Side.
Right.
You're not really losing as a company. It's just the brand recognition goes and shifts somewhere else where you think that they can be better valued, and I think those are good moves. But Chris Clemens leaves Dynamic Discs for Discraft alongside his, at least in the moment speaking, girlfriend, Hannah Wynn.
Yeah, so they signed 2 players from Trilogy, and these are underrated signings. I mean, it's the best lefty on the MPO side in Chris Clemens. Agree. He is absolutely a contender week in and week out. I mean, Dynamic Discs Open, he is always showing out there. USDGC, he's always, putting up some solid rounds and threatening to be a competitor.
Yeah.
And I would not be shocked if this move to Discraft elevates him to the next level and he secures a Pro Tour win this year. I would not be surprised at all if that happened.
So I think that has a lot of potential there. I would not consider that like a top win by any means, but it's definitely a win.
Oh, for sure.
And then the last bit we have here, which we predicted some of this movement right here. Trey had some insight, but Infinite and Thought Space had several signings, a particular one being Chandler Fry.
Yeah, I overheard Chandler at Music City Open talking with Eric and James and Erica Stinchcomb.
Yeah.
And just saying, man, the team Infinite and Thought Space is so fun. I wish I signed with them.
Yeah.
I mean, and he spoke it into existence.
He did it.
And
so this is what we anticipated it would be based on that. We talked about Allie Smith potentially making this kind of move. That happened right there. We've got Lucky Lorenzen, which was a move from Prodigy over to Infinite Thought Space.
Which was a little surprising, but it's a great pickup.
I love it.
And then what I think might wind up being one of the most underrated signings for them is Anthony Bodanza being on their tour team. Now, Anthony has not competed on tour a ton, but he is a social media presence.
He's got over 13,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that is not a small amount of YouTube subscribers to balk at. I think when it comes to the social media platforms that like currently run, that is the hardest one to get a number like that.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about ad revenue. The moment that you want your product to be talked about, you don't just have Instagram to just like toss a post on, very low effort. Like he's putting in really solid content, and I love watching his content.
Oh, his content is it's class.
It makes you feel like you're there, and that's just hard to do. We will continue to try to do course content as like the weather finally gets better. Please.
Oh, we're so ready to get out there, man.
But he's on just a different level. Like that's like the kind of content that we would strive to be like.
Yeah, he's a content creator that we strive to be like. Absolutely, the one that we can watch and learn from.
And my favorite part is that Anthony can show up to a course by himself, toss up the tripod, take his shots, and post an absolute banger of a video. And he doesn't need this like huge crew. He does all of that like himself. At some point, he's going to need help on the editing front.
I think he's got some help on the editing side. Maybe.
That would make sense now that he's got money coming in, which I believe he mentioned some like in the offseason as he got brand deals that were going to be able to help.
Yeah.
But man, talk about a unit. I love it. You also had a...
Oh yeah, Grady Shue. Awesome player, awesome guy. It's exciting to see him join this crew. It's a fun crew over there in Infinite Thought Space. So it'll be exciting to see how they compete this year as well.
Yeah, is there anything else on winners that you've got?
No, I think we can jump straight into...
All I was going to say is if you think that we've missed somebody when it comes to the winners this offseason, or if there's a player that you think has been undervalued or like not mentioned here, roast us in the comments. You won't do it.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
We can take it.
So let's move in. Let's talk about the losing brands of the 2023 to 2024 offseason. I'm just going to... I have a bone to pick with Innova. I don't think that they lost anybody like super noteworthy particularly, but I think that Innova, more than maybe any other brand right now based on the space that they live in, needed a big signing. They didn't. They did not get... I love Emerson Keith. I think he's wonderful to watch, but we needed somebody that is currently bigger than Emerson Keith coming to Innova.
Now, Emerson did win on tour last year.
He did.
And so he's not a small signing by any stretch. And I think I think Thomas was a little more strongly about this. I think on the MPO side, they definitely could have stood to maybe go after an Eagle, go after Gannon, Alden. They make a move towards Niklas. That would have been huge if they could have gotten him to add to their European presence.
But Trey made a really good point. What is your thought on Innova?
Yeah, I think Innova, I mean, if you look at it, MPO, it's kind of Calvin and then a litany of kind of players that are good, but not major needle movers in terms of their play. But then if you look at the FPO side, they have Owen Scoggins. They have Ellie Midtlyng. They have Hannah Blomroos. They have Kat Mersch.
Haley King. It's an absolute stack on the FPO side.
So I think Innova, they're the queens of disc golf right now.
They are.
So they've got 5 of the top 12 players in FPO. And that, I mean, I don't think there's a team, there's not a roster that posts that. I mean, Discraft might compete, but Innova is killing it on the FPO side. We would just like to see them have that type of effort to sign players on the MPO side as well.
Yeah. Generally speaking, you've got an absolute unit of an FPO squad there. What would you rather have? Those, was that 5 FPO players or Tristan Tanner? You have to pick all 5 or 1 currently.
That's actually kind of hard.
That is.
Because you've got some great players on the course and Own and Haley King to some extent. She does market herself some. But then you also have Kat Mersch, who is a great personality. And then you have Hannah and Evelina, which they bring the European side.
Yeah.
But Tristan Tanner is all of those things and more. So I think I'd rather have Tristan, if I'm honest.
It's a tough one. You don't want to value people in a way that sounds mean. Our goal is not to be degrading, but it is just numbers at the end of the day. I think Tristan probably can push more plastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not a thing against the 5 FPO players.
No, by no means.
And like we said, Innova, queens of disc golf right now.
100%.
And so it's just Tristan is kind of on the level.
Yeah, this next one, I would probably say more than Trey. I really, Prodigy losing Gannon and Alden is huge. That's a tough loss. Trey, you probably feel more that they already had a stacked team and maybe that it was an inevitable loss.
Yeah, so that is the way I feel, but that doesn't keep them from being, in my opinion, after I've had some thought about it, the biggest losers of this offseason. Losing Gannon, losing Alden, losing Parker Welck.
Yes.
And losing Lucky.
Yeah. It's a major loss.
Those are 4 significant players on tour. Like we said before, Parker Welck won on tour last year. Lucky was competitive in many events. Obviously, Gannon and Alden are top tier players. And they added no one. Now, they did make some changes to their tour team, adding one of our favorite players, Aiden Scott, to the tour team. We are very excited about that move. We think that's one of the better moves that happened this offseason, as well as adding Chantal Vidensky, if I said that right. I hope I did.
I think you did.
And we also noticed that Manabu Kajiyama is on the tour team. I'm not sure if that was something that happened last year or not. I would personally be excited to see him go on a more full tour. I think that could be a great jump for him and a good move for Prodigy to kind of get to engage the Asian market a little bit more. They have the top player. Let's see him compete with the best of the best.
I would love it. And honestly, way too many people put way too much stress on Manabu because, it's not Manabu's fault that there's, an error in the rating system.
Right.
I don't think Manabu thinks he's currently not. After his, swing here in the U.S. to play a couple events, he is not the number 1 rated player. It dropped significantly. But I don't think Manabu thought anything of that. He was playing disc golf, and it just happened to be how the rating system fell out.
Absolutely, yeah. And he is, don't get me wrong, he is a phenomenal player.
Oh, yeah.
He is fantastic. And so there should be no love lost for Manabu.
Yeah, people should think higher of him because he's awesome for disc golf.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk dynamic discs. Man, this is a hard one. Losing Chris Clemens, that's a tough one to lose. Macie Velediaz is like the big punch in the gut.
It's the way that they lost Macie is what makes them just kind of, it just is a bad look for the company.
Yeah, I'd be more likely to want to put like a performance clause on something if you were worried about like how she might perform throughout the season, talk with her, work with her, say, how do we make this work? Because at the end of the day, these people know that they are valuable because they are either a social media presence, a really solid disc golfer, or both. And the company can't just shell out money without any return. I don't think anybody's like dumb enough to think that that's not part of this game.
Right, but Macie did both.
Yeah.
Macie competed at a high level in multiple events, won one of the wraparound events from 2022, and like her justices sold like crazy.
They did.
Everybody wanted one of, like when they came out with the soft justice.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted one of those. It seems like she's a needle mover. We talked about this on one of the other podcasts. She is a needle mover, and Dynamic didn't see it that way.
Yeah, they absolutely dropped the ball. And you would just think that there would be more conversation leading into like, how can we make this work? Obviously, you've got a change in life. You are planning to have a child.
Yeah.
That is big for a tour schedule. Like, I don't think Macie's like, hey, why aren't they paying me for like everything that I would have normally been bringing? Macie in that season could definitely be promoting their discs online. Let's talk through and come up with a strategy to where like Macie can like provide value while she's not playing, because she totally would be willing to.
Oh,
Macie pushes plastic. She's really good at social media. Yeah, drop the ball completely.
And they also allowed Gannon Alden to walk, which he didn't get to play a full season, but the dude is one of the most talented disc golfers, period.
Yeah.
Just based on pure talent alone, he crushes. He is a solid putter when he's on. He has all the skills to be a Pro Tour winner. It just doesn't feel like he's gotten the support that he may have thought that he was going to get from Dynamic. And he said on his social media post that he wasn't sure if he was going to get to tour this year.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate because, like I said, he is a top-tier talent in the sport. He just needs the right investment, I think.
I agree. So definitely a loss there. Honestly, those are probably some of the bigger losses overall. Let's talk Lone Star.
Yeah.
Lone
Star lost a lot.
This is what we've been expecting. The number one reason I think Lone Star would take a huge dip long term is because of the stupidity of the Ranger team. I consider that a huge L this entire offseason. I think the idea of really trying to push this team that a bunch of 800 or 780 rated players can get onto.
We could get on the team.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. I think I'm okay at disc golf, but I'm not. I'm not even within any close distance of being a professional disc golfer. And yeah, we could get on that team. Like, somebody signed up their dog for the team. They didn't even go the distance to really confirm some of these things. And I think that plays into their brand reputation decreasing. I would say less plastic was sold because of the bad media and press coming from how stupid some of that was. And in the midst of that, I just don't love their plastic that much.
Yeah, I have a couple of their molds in my bag.
Big tumbleweed guy.
Big tumbleweed guy. That's a fantastic disc. I can't discredit them for that. But it does seem like that there's been some kind of major change that's led to a mass exodus. Not even just players. We could talk about the players. We already talked about Emerson Keith leaving and going to Innova. We have talked about who else left?
Chandler Kramer? Did you say Chandler Kramer already?
No, I didn't say Chandler Kramer. Chandler Kramer, we don't know where he's going, but he has left. And Chandler Kramer felt like the quintessential player for them. Lisa Fakis, who is a fantastic FPO player, has decided to go open bag completely.
Yeah.
And signed with, I think it was Resistance Disc? Is that
Something
right?
like that. I was just looking through something like what last year's team was listed as. But yeah, Emerson Keith, Lisa Fakis, Chandler Kramer all gone. I mean, you've still got Robert Burridge there, and Nico are both still there, but Nico's also pushing a little bit of his own brand currently.
Yeah, Sacred Disc.
It's not like this was some like massive team to begin with, but they had some like solid signings, and to see those people leave, just that makes that tough.
Yeah, they're one Pro Tour winning player leaving.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
And they did sign Connor O'Reilly, who has one on tour as well. So that is a good addition. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh yeah, like Connor O'Reilly isn't like a great addition to your team. But when you're losing 3 people, and I think Chandler Kramer, actually all 3 of them just being big players, but that doesn't even get into both Josh Hofstra, their social media guy, who is fantastic, by the way. He does a great job with social media. And Hooligan Discs, their secondary company that they were manufacturing discs for, both left Lone Star. And it sounded like there was some, from what Josh was saying on Twitter, it sounded like one person was making some really bad decisions for the company in his opinion, and that's what caused some of this exodus to occur.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to give any more details, and that makes total sense. But it just is a bad look for the company.
So we'll let that one play out in 2024. But those are the losers in our opinion of the offseason. I mean, I don't believe there's a lot more to uncover. I mean, obviously Chandler Kramer will tell us where he's going eventually. As of this recording, we don't know that currently.
Maybe he's telling it right now.
Yeah, honestly, that would be our luck for that to happen. So that's that. We're going to move into our way too early 2024 Elite Series and Major MPO winners. There's a lot of events to cover, and we'll cover FPO probably in our next podcast.
Yeah, we'll run through FPO, and for this, we're going to pretty much keep a pretty fast pace here. If there's a surprising pick or somebody we want to like harp a little bit more on, we'll take a break and do that. But generally speaking, the majors we're gonna flesh out our picks there, but the rest will go pretty rapid.
We just don't want to have you listening to our way too early picks for 30 minutes since there's 27 events. So I'll name the event and then we'll snake through as we do this. All right?
Yep.
And we'll keep a list of this. Post it so that you've got reference for our picks throughout the season, and then we can look back at how did Trey and Thomas do at picking people. So we're going to start off with, we're not going to make any notations for the All-Star Weekend, but we may briefly talk about just our thoughts on the All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think it's a fun event. It's exciting. It's a good idea to get the top players together and have this event. I think some of the skills challenges and things like that are a little gimmicky personally. I think that what would be good is to have it be just the singles, doubles, match play style events. Now, Thomas, I think you had a different
I wish
idea.
It would play more like the Ryder Cup. I mean, the European Open kind of does a format that's like that with some of their play, and so like they kind of already have a little bit of that, but it'd be fun to see it way more focused on actually playing disc golf because, I mean, the putting competition is kind of boring to watch. I think the skills competition kind of boring to watch.
No, it was pretty cool when Sarah Hokum threw that quad mando.
The one where she made it, yeah. Watch that live, baby. That was pretty sick.
That was a cool moment, but like those were too few and far between for me. I'd rather see more golf actually happening.
I would agree, and I hope that their distance competition gets cut down to where rollers are not in play. I believe that's what the case was this past year, which made it stupid.
Yeah, they need to do away with that.
You need to play it like the actual world distance competition, where it's where it lands, and you can't just run a roller. So make it about frisbees, not about balls, like rolling down. Like it'd be like hitting, I don't know. It just is stupid to have it roll. It's a frisbee. Let it fly, not roll. It's so dumb. So we're going to roll in, and we're going to start off at the Chess.com Invitational in Brooksville, Florida.
I think we can just go ahead and do this one together because we're both picking
Paul Macbeth. I think that, it's at the throw down the mountain course.
Him and Dylan own it. He's gonna kill it. He's coming back with a vengeance this year that you're gonna see a little theme here.
Yeah. So now we're gonna go to Prodigy presents Waco in Waco, Texas. I've got Adam Hammis.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Ricky Wysocki getting off to a hot start.
There we go. I can see it happening. We're gonna go to the Open at Austin in Austin, Texas.
I'm gonna take Calvin Heimberg. Time for him to get back on track.
And that's going to be, you're counting that as, I think he might have been second place last year, but I'm going to pick the back-to-back, being Gannon Burr is going to pick up his first win with Discmania. We're going to move on to Texas State in Houston, Texas.
My own version of a back-to-back. We got Calvin Heimberg.
You're saying that he's going to go back-to-back this year and
on tour
during the Texas Swing.
It's a little double back-to-back.
Definitely. I'm saying right after Discmania picks up their first win, the prior Discmania, now MVP, Eagle McMahon takes down Texas State's.
I can see it.
Jonesboro Open. I'm taking a pretty hot pick and saying that Anthony Barella is going to pick up his first win on tour.
It seems like a place he could do it for sure. I'm going with somebody who's won this event before, has struggled the past couple of years to some extent to his standard, but it's time for Kevin Jones to get back on track. Kevin Jones taking down Jonesboro.
That's what I like to see. 2024's Music City Open in Nashville, Tennessee.
The Tennessee boy is going to win it. His name's not Chris Dickerson. Aiden Scott is taking down the Music City Open.
There we go.
And this is, this might be a little biased from two Aiden Scott stands, or I guess one in this case, but I think I got to watch him play this event last year. He has all the tools to absolutely shred this course again next year, and he was on chase card, or third card. He was playing with Paul Macbeth and Calvin Heimberg.
Had a pretty sick card to play on that second round.
I think Nico was the other one.
Yeah.
And so, just three legends of the game.
That is pretty sick.
A future legend of the game.
Yeah.
Pro Tour winner, Aiden Scott.
There we go. I'm going to go with the back-to-back. I'm picking Simon Lizotte. The second MVP winner of the year will be Simon Lizotte at the Music City Open. We're going to move into the first major of the year at Champions Cup this year in Morton, Illinois, playing Northwood Black.
Yeah, 4 rounds at Northwoods. And he was my way too early winner for Worlds last year. Isaac Robinson is the perfect person to play Northwoods Black. If I was going to pick anybody's game, I'd pick Isaac's. He is an absolute killer of the woods. I think Ricky could make a jump here, and Ricky was my close second, but I think Isaac's taking it down.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with the Robinson brother, and Ezra Robinson is going to take down the Champions Cup this year. I think both Robinson brothers need to have won a Champions Cup prior, but at 2 different courses. Wow. So we're going to move into the Dynamic Discs Open in Emporia, Kansas, and I'm going to go with the Dynamic Disc King himself, Ricky Wysocki.
Hey, I think that's a good pick. I think now we got to get Chris Dickerson back on track from last year. He didn't have his best season. Let's just be real. He's bouncing back this year. He's winning the DDO.
That's what I like to see. We're going to move into the Copenhagen Open. Now, we're going to be very clear. Some of these events, we actually don't have a full roster of who's playing, so we just assumed all the top pros are going to be there. There's the chance that we pick somebody that actually won't be at the event. If that happens, don't hold it against us. It's based on the information that we had in this moment. Who do you got for the Copenhagen Open?
I think the Nordic phenom himself.
Yes, sir.
Niklas Antila.
That's
we'll take that one down.
Yes, sir. Now, I'm going to pull in, and I'm going to say that it's going to take him just a second to get a secondary win, but I'm pulling for the Euro King himself, Paul Macbeth.
Ooh, I see it.
Absolutely nuts when he plays in Europe.
He just does. He figures it out.
I mean, he won the PCS last year, and so I just think he's absolutely something else.
Oh, absolutely.
The OTB Open, I'll roll this one. This is the OTB Open in Stockton, California, and I'm going to pull and say Gannon Burr is going to take down the OTB.
Hey, we agree again. Gannon Burr, it's going to take him a minute to get used to his Discmania bag. But he's a fantastic player. It's not going to take him all year. He's winning the OTB Open.
I like to see it. Now let's move around to the Portland Open in Portland, Oregon.
Man, I can't. when it comes to some Northeast disc golf, I can't root against Eagle McMahon. He's also going to have to figure out his bag. He's also coming off of shoulder surgery. I don't see him winning super early, but this is where he picks up his first win on the year.
That's what I like to see. I'm going to come through and I'm going to pick Aaron Gossage. Now, if I'm not mistaken, last year at the Portland Open, Aaron Gossage went into a playoff with Adam Hammes, I believe it was.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, and so I think Aaron Gossage has a bone to pick with the Portland Open, and he's going to roll back and take it down at Big Tree City in Portland. Those trees are huge.
Those trees are huge. But I'd love to see Gossage take that one down.
All right, you and I, we're pretty similar here. We've got the 2024 Beaver State Fling in Estacada, Oregon.
It's got to be Eagle.
It's got to be Eagle. It's his favorite course. Eagle has said that the Beaver State Fling at Mile MacGyver is his favorite course to play. And
I mean, I just can't see anybody else taking that one down. It's got to be Eagle.
All right, now we're moving over into the Turku Open. This is, again, this like European swing. Let's make a quick detour and say that I'm going to speak for me. I believe that you agree here, is that this whole like weird Europe, US, Europe, US, Europe, 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 like back and forth is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I get that we want to have some Pro Tour events in Europe, but to split the tour in some ways, because you're going to have some European players that want to stay in America and play. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Albert Tam stay and play the US events. In that same vein, we might see, we've seen Eric Oakley and James Proctor make these bigger swings on the Europe tour.
Yeah.
And so that wouldn't be surprising to me either if we saw some of those guys just play some European events and try to get some wins there.
Yeah.
But we don't really know, and so but it is just kind of difficult. It doesn't make a lot of sense to split the tour. If you're going to do something like this, have a natural break, take a week off, and then have 4 or 5 events in Europe.
I think that would make the most sense. So this is primarily where we're going to make some assumptions on people playing. We could very well be wrong based on people that just are not participating.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go to the Turku Open in Turku, Finland. I've got Niklas Antila coming in and taking his first win down of the season.
And I've got a first-time winner, Väinö Mäkelä.
I love to see it.
I'm taking it down.
Väinö's fun to watch. Now we're going to move into the Preserve Championship in Clearwater, Minnesota. We've got an amazing property at, good old airborne disc golf.
Kale Visca.
He's absolutely nuts. I'm going to take this. This is a pretty long course. I think somebody that has an arm typically takes this down, but I'm going to take Ezra Aderholt for this one.
Hey, I'd love to see Ezra take one down, and this seems like a place that he could do it for sure.
Who do you got?
I've got my man Ricky Wysocki taking down another one.
Good deal. We're going to move to the Swedish Open in Boris, Sweden. I am going to go, and I'm going to swap around, and I'm going to say Väinö Mäkelä.
And I'm going to swap around and say Niklas Antila.
Well, you got to take the European boys in Europe. I mean, I think they've got a lot of opportunity to win some of these events in the U.S., but where they're most comfortable is closer to where home is.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got the Des Moines Challenge right here. Who do you got? This is in Indianola, Iowa.
I have, at this point, I'm going to have Gannon Burr taking down his second win of the year. I think he won Des Moines last year. It just seems like this is a spot where he's just going to compete. Like, he just competes at the highest level and is going to win.
Yeah. I'm going to go and say that Anthony Barella is going to take down his second win of the season. I think once Anthony Barella unlocks the achievement of having won an event, the door is just open for him to start taking down some events.
Totally. Absolutely.
So now we're going to move over to the Krokol Open in Krokol, Norway. I am going to take Paul Macbeth. I think he absolutely slays in Europe.
Hey, he does. But you know who else likes to spend a lot of time in Europe? James Proctor.
He did. Did he finish second at the PCS Open last year? He just almost took it over Paul.
Yeah, him and Paul battled and
almost went to a playoff, but didn't, I believe.
Yeah, I think maybe it was 17 is where he fell off. But James Proctor, great player in Europe. He's going to take it down and he's going to win.
All right, and this is where we've got the European Open in Nokia, Finland. Now, the President's Cup, which is effectively our Ryder Cup, happens on the 17th of July. But we're not going to discuss that. We're going to go in. Actually, who do you think is going to win, Europeans or Americans?
The Europeans have never won.
I got the Americans taking it.
They've never won, but I think they might do it this year. This is the closest I think they'll get. It was pretty close last year, but I think Europe takes it. I think Europe takes it this year.
I'm open to it. Now we've got our second major of the year at the European Open. I'm going to go and say that Calvin Heimberg is going to take down a major.
It's about time.
It is about time.
I don't see it yet. I see a guy who was one of the most consistent golfers last year. Didn't quite take one down, but now he's year 2, throwing mixed bag. James Proctor is going to be a major champion. He's going to win the European Open.
There you go. Now we've got the European Disc Golf Festival in Tallinn, Estonia. It's a 3-day event. Who do you got?
Infinite's going to keep rolling strong, but Proctor's going to get beat by his boy Eric Oakley. Eric Oakley has taken down the European Disc Golf Festival.
That's crazy if that happens, man. That would be absolutely nuts. I'm here for it. EO's an absolute awesome dude. It would make my heart happy to see him take down a win like that. I'm going to roll around and I'm going to pick Paul McBeth. I think he's really good in Europe, and I think he's just going to come back and just have an insane year on a full tour.
And you got Paul shredding it.
Yeah, so we've got the Ledgestone Open in Peoria, Illinois, playing at, this is the other side of the property. Lake Eureka. Who do you got?
This is where the floodgates open for your boy Anthony Barella. Anthony Barella at this course, he's going to shoot, I think he's going to have a round where he shoots close to 18 under. I think he might shoot 18 under in one of those 4 rounds. You give him 4 rounds at this course, he's going to fix his mistakes. He's going to avoid the OB. I think Anthony Barella has the biggest win on tour.
Like the biggest margin of victory?
Biggest margin of victory of any event at this event.
All right. I'm going to roll around and I'm going to pick Isaac Robinson. Now, I know historically he's more of a woods golfer, but I think this is where he takes it in a little bit more of an open land. I think he's got absolutely insane placement shots.
He definitely could do it, for sure.
Now, you and I are going to feel pretty similar here. We've got the LWS Open at Idlewild in Burlington, Kentucky.
Yeah, I think former winner of this event, Kyle Klein.
Kyle Klein. He's bound to take it down. Just an absolute insane time. Now, I believe it was several years ago is when Kyle Klein took it over. Was it Andrew Marweed in a playoff?
I think it was the 2021 season.
Yeah. I just remember them rolling around and playing hole 1 again, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And Kyle laced it. Andrew got himself up in some trees. So we'll see how that goes. Now we're going to roll over to the PDGA Pro Worlds in Lynchburg, Virginia, playing a mix between New London and is it Ivy Hill or is it?
Yes, Ivy Hill.
So, who do you got?
I really wanted to pick Paul McBeth here. I figure at the course that he designed, he would come out and make it happen. But he is going to come just short. My man, fellow teammate of his, Chris Dickerson, is going to be a world champion this year.
I'd love to see it.
Chris Dickerson is going to take it down. He won the Battle of Bedford last year in 2023. There were several top pros there, and he took it down.
Yeah, he knows that, like those courses.
Oh, and that course, like we've been there. Obviously we can't play at Chris's level, but the course is made for Chris Dickerson.
We have to go to Worlds this year, right?
Oh, we're definitely going. Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts, but August 21st, we need to go ahead and request PTO so we can be there all 4 rounds.
Oh yeah, maybe even before. Maybe we take a whole week off and we just go down.
That would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
I think the wives would enjoy some time out there.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to pick Gannon Burr. I think he's going to roll through and pick up his first Worlds win, and I think he's just slated for an insane career. And I think at this point, I took a break between his first and his second win throughout the season, and so I think Gannon's going to take it down a little bit later on an event that means a lot. Now we've got the Great Lakes Open in Milford, Michigan. Or is that Milford? Yeah, Milford, Michigan.
Yeah. I am going to take Cole Redolin. Cole Redolin won around this time frame in the last year with the Ledgestone. I don't think he takes Ledgestone down again, but he goes to Deglow and takes it down.
I love to see it. And I've got Eagle McMahon, his teammate, being the one to take it down this year. Eagle's got a history at Deglo, and I think he's got an opportunity to absolutely go nuts out here.
No, I'm going to just correct you real quick.
Well, I know it's at the GMC that he's got
No. So I originally, to help Thomas here, I originally did put Simon Lizotte down here, but I said Cole Redalin.
Oh, you're not correcting me.
I'm correcting the board.
You said let me correct you.
Well, you said his teammate.
Oh, sorry. Because Simon was written down, you changed it to Cole Redalin.
I changed it to Cole Redalin on the fly. I realized I didn't have Cole winning anything, and he's definitely going to win again.
Got it. That's where I had Simon written down on our list. That's a good correction there. Cole Redalin, not Cole's teammate, Eagle McMahon with MVP, is going to take down Deglo.
Cole's going MVP?
Well, because Deglo's played at Toboggan, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. That's where I thought you were going to correct me saying that this was not Toboggan, and all I can think of is Eagle McMahon throwing an absolute nutty forehand on, I don't know what it was.
The one where he's
on the road over the, barrier. Absolutely nuts. So Eagle's going to take this one down. Now we're going into the Green Mountain Championship, the location of your 2023 World Championships. I've got Calvin Heimberg taking it down. He came in a very close one to taking a win. It was at second or third, I believe it was, or maybe top 5.
Yeah, he had a strong finish at Worlds last year. But the World Champ
was 5th.
The World Champ is going to take it down. The 2023 World Champ, I should say. Isaac Robinson's going to grab his second win of the year on my list.
There we go. Now we're moving into, holy crap, my computer is being crazy. We're going into the 2024 MVP Open in Leicester, Massachusetts. Did I say that right?
Leicester?
Leicester? That's a Leicester. Leicester. That's interesting. But I was way off with Leicester. Leicester, Massachusetts. I'm taking Ricky Wysocki is taking down the MVP Open.
I like the pick. The main man in MVP is going to take down the MVP Open. It's going to be Eagle McMahon.
Eagle McMahon. We're not going to have our boy Matty O taking down a back-to-back dub.
Man, Matty O did open the floodgates. We could just be really wrong, and Matty O just win
every event.
5 or 6 events this year. He totally could, but we haven't picked him yet.
It would not surprise me at all. So, USDGC, let's pull it in. I'm picking Paul McBeth. I think seeing him back out this way, having a real full touring season with the rest of the pros, he's going to come in and take a huge dub.
I like the pick, and you've got him on bookends. That's kind of neat as far as the tour goes. I know we have the Pro Tour finale, but...
I had him at a couple wins in Europe.
Well, yes, but also just the beginning and the end.
Oh, yeah,
That's what I was getting at. Calvin, you're finally going to do it. This is me giving you the motivational speech. It's been a hard year. You've won a couple of times. You've fallen short at the first 3 majors on the year. You've come really, really close. But do not lose hope. USDGC plays to every single one of your strengths. You're going to go out there and absolutely shred. You're not going to go be like you do in clutch moments in the past. That's going away. You're activating the clutch gene, and you're going to take it down and win your first major. You have got this, Calvin.
All right. Pet talk for Calvin. Let's move in to our final event. We've passed the actual regular season, and we're in the 2024 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship in Charlotte, North Carolina. Who knows where it's going to be played? Like normal, probably at Nevin.
I mean, you'd have to assume, right?
What a wonderful course. You finally got to play this course.
Yeah, I played it, I guess that was a week ago. Yeah, played it a week ago, and man, it is hard.
Yeah, I got the opportunity to play one time when the wife and I were in Charlotte for a weekend, and I'm glad you got the opportunity to play that course.
Yeah, Matt and I played it and beat Matt by a stroke.
There you go. That is a tough course. Trey, who's taking it down?
I mean, it just feels like Ricky just wins the Pro Tour Championship every year.
It's the Ricky Wysocki Championship.
Yeah, exactly. So I got Ricky winning it.
There you go. Last year, Paul didn't get to play, but I've got a ton of faith. I historically have been a Paul McBeth doubter. Not that I think that Paul McBeth was not good, not that I didn't think he was good for the sport, but that I thought that the tour was getting more competitive and that he was going to have a harder time winning. This is the year of Paul. He's going to return, he's going to win, and he's going to win the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship.
I can definitely see it.
So that's everything that we've got for you guys in terms of our way too early picks. That's the rest of our episode 24 of the podcast.
Yeah, man, we knocked it out.
So I hope you guys appreciate the content. We switched it up. We're not running the desk today. Just keeping comfy in the chairs right here.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about the setup and if there's anything you would change.
Yeah, so we'll cut some of this up for you guys to see in a little bit more short form. Maybe we'll pull some of these picks into a few so that you've got some Instagram reels to look back at and see how we guessed over a grouping of events. So we appreciate you guys for listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're at the time of recording at 103. We're still finalizing our giveaway. We actually dipped below 100 and then back up. So if you're listening to this and then unsubscribe, you're the worst kind of person. Please subscribe.
But if you're not subscribed and you're listening, you should please subscribe.
Please. Make sure to go follow us on Instagram at Forge Sports Media. Make sure to go follow us on TikTok, also at Forge Sports Media. We'd absolutely love it. The weather's about to get better.
So you're going to see more course content, and the season is coming up,
yes.
Which means Forge Sports Fantasy is coming back.
Forge Sports Fantasy. I mean, this will probably be something that we play with some close friends, but we would absolutely love to have you involved. It's a fun time, and we love to keep track of who's best at picks. And last year, that was this man right here, Trey Foshi.
I do what I can.
He had a solid number 1. I think I came in at number 2.
I think it was you, me, and then Matt.
Yeah, something like that. So if you would like to play, please let us know. We've got a link in our Instagram bio. You can go sign up for Forge Sports Fantasy, and you can go and follow us on our Discord channel. We'll start monitoring that more as we get into the Pro Tour season.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.